Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and sorry I've not made a video in a couple of days. I've had family over, because I had the new baby and everything, so everybody's looking at the baby and blah blah blah, which meant I had relatives and other kids, and basically I just became more of a slave than I already am. So let's have a look at the chart then, since everybody's gone home and all the kids are in bed. We'll start off with Bitcoin. So I mean, it is the end of the weekend, which it doesn't really mean a great deal, the weekend price action, because in the week is usually, to me, the more reliable one to go by. With all your CME, blah blah blah, all this business. So weekend price action is often, most of the time it's bullish by nature, but it's not always the case. But most of the time it's bullish by nature. But I disregard much of it, and I don't really like to trade it either. But looking at it now, the thing I did like about this weekend is that until just today, it's been pretty much dead. And the good thing about that is that it's allowed, this sideways action has allowed us to essentially begin to, you could call it reaccumulate within a certain zone, a safety zone really, where basically the RSI can kind of settle to around 50, which is where it came down to. It's just started to go up a little bit today with this move. I mean, I suppose that's quite a bit, but a little bit really, which means that I'm looking still for a little bit more of a pullback back down to that safety zone to retest these upper levels of this sideways business. We're talking levels of around about 9,750 to maybe as low as 9,550. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pullback towards those areas, a retest of those. If not tonight, maybe in the tomorrow or thereabouts. Sideways in this zone is good because it's basically meaning that we're likely to pop up a bit more aggressively at some point next week. Now next week I am expecting some big moves from it really, because we kind of have confirmed still. I mean, this is you could say that this was the pullback, right? So we'll measure this up. We've been in a bull market for almost a year now, despite for the majority of last year coming all the way down. Okay, so if we measure this all the way from the top down to the bottom, that was a 54% pullback. Okay, so we're looking at this on the long-term time frame. This is how I like to look at everything, on long-term time frames. So bull market confirmed back here. All the way up here we had a massive, huge overreach and a pullback by 54%. Okay, still not double bottoming down at these levels, not at all. This is essentially a giant pullback in what would be considered still the bull market of the 4-year cycle, meaning that now we're in the second year of that 4-year cycle. We're looking to start to make some big moves again, maybe not as big and bold and as fast as these moves, but if this is our starting point, we're already twice the distance from where we began last year. So technically we're still in the bull market. The bull market never ended, even though we have been bearish for a very, 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 very long time. So what we're doing now is we're in this basically a bit of a descending wedgy kind of, it's more of a channel really, a descending channel. Not really much more to it, and it's very loose and very, very rough. So we are expecting to be rejected around these areas and supported around these areas. So this basically means to me that we're unlikely to break down beneath 9,000 now, because the bottom of the Bollinger Band has moved up. We're currently, the bottom of the Bollinger Band is 9,300. The green 50 exponential moving average is 9,200. The 50 simple is 9,126. So it's offered us 3 levels of realistic support at this point now, that if we did come back down to test these bottom zones, 9,000 is actually all the way down here. We might find a wick to that level, but as these main supports are above us, above that price of 9,000, I think it's quite unrealistic to assume that we will break down below 9,000. Now anything is possible because the channel again is descending, but descending channels like this get broken to the up more times than they get broken to the down. So statistically, even though temporarily we're going down, it actually looks bullish to me. It is technically, it's all bullish. We're above the itchy cloud. We have the itchy cloud cross back here. Let's have a look at the weekly, see what the weekly looks like. And we are about to have our cross here as of this week on the Ichimoku cloud, so that is a great sign. basically meaning continuation from this point forward. This is where we're going. From this point forward, if we confirm this cross here, which seems pretty likely, we will continue moving up. And that is basically a really, really powerful indicator for a long-term time frame. And I'm talking a couple of months, at least 2-3 months or so of upwards trending. So it's about to get really bullish, guys. There's nothing else to it. The problem is, are we going to pull back? Are you going to do leverage? You know, I'm not here to be your financial advisor. I am long on Bitcoin. I've been long actually for a few days now, to be honest. And I'm holding that long because I don't think we're likely to get down beneath it. And if we are, you know, I don't think we're going to go much lower than 9,000, and it would only be very temporary. So I'm quite happy to sustain temporary losses in the event that we do break down further. Obviously, that's the way I'm trading. Don't go copying me. Do your own trading off your own TA. This channel's just for educational purposes, and that education is not really a proper education because I'm just trading off my own back. Really, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a financial advisor. So there's my disclaimer for you there. So that out the back, out there. So let's have a look at the RSI. We checked that. MACD's still bearish, but we've got our first tick here of bullish divergence on that, so it's looking okay, and it's not anywhere near the bottom levels here. So it's just it's you know, it's the first day really of what could be bullish divergence there. So let's have a look at XRP then, shall we? XRP, massive crash obviously, but still remaining, every single candle body remaining above the descending channel, the descending trend that we've been stuck under for 2 years, so it's still bullish to me. I think you probably appreciate that I'm quite tired of getting all tongue-tied and not making any sense, rambling, mumbling, so I apologise for all of that. So what else do we see on this daily chart? Basically nothing else to report other than the fact that we're above that descending trend. I apologise again. Above the descending trend, which is great. Every candle has closed above it, despite going down in value. Every candle has closed above it, which is what we want. We don't want to close candles beneath it. Not got our golden cross yet. Actually, what do we have here? We have a very slight piece, a tiny piece of bullish divergence on the MACD, but it counts for something. RSI is, you know, just above 50, which is good. So we're looking for big moves on this one also. But again, you know, pullbacks could quite easily happen. We had wicks way down beneath the descending trend, all the way down to 26. We could see that again, no problem. But again, similar to Bitcoin and quite a lot of other coins, really, these top cap coins, we're above most of the major moving averages. Short terms are above us. That's you know, that's a good sign. And look, that 10 simple is actually bending right down to catch up with us here. In fact, we're being rejected. It would appear from the is that the 21-day simple? It is, yeah. It could just be a coincidence. It's not really generally a great indicator to go by. But yeah, we're above that channel. Our major long-term moving averages are beneath us, and even the Bollinger Band now is down at 25. So, you know, breaking down from here, I would expect support on each of these, all the way down to 25.1. Finally, let's have a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum is my biggest holding, so I've got a vested interest in this. When I say holding, I'm not trading it, I'm holding it. This is my hodl. This is my hodl coin. I'm hodling as much as this as I can get my hands on actually at the moment. So where do I expect to go from here? Well, we're above all moving averages, and we are quite high on the RSI, but this one still has my targets yet to be hit of 300, and also around about 320 is where I'm expecting to maybe think about selling for the first time before I re-enter. But you know, it depends where I am, what I'm doing at the time. Again, I'm not a full-time trader anymore. I've got so much else going on at the moment. I can't sit around at computers all the time. I find it a lot easier to plan for these kind of moves on dailies than trade any smaller time frame. But everything on this chart looks amazingly bullish, massively bullish, golden cross, everything like that. Even the MACD looks like it's had enough of this tiny little bearishness, and it's just tipping back into bullish territory. But it's still very, very, very bullish. Everything about this chart is bullish to me. But you know, the problem I've got is that it is already, even after this pullback, is quite overextended. So we'll find probably big pumps and relatively big dumps on this one, with the bigger and the harder that it pumps and moves. So again, the reason where I'm looking to cash out, probably the first time would be around about 320. I would expect we overshoot that area, maybe even make it up to as much as 350. But that would be a FOMO run if it did happen, and it would come back down from there. RSI is very high, and again, we looked at this previously. RSI was higher at this level here that it was at just recently than it was when it reached this level up here. $1,400. So that said, I'm not expecting anything to collapse like this, but you just got to put it into context. It's very, very high RSI, and it's still very high despite pulling back with the rest of the market. But in all fairness, a very, very bullish coin, and I'm enjoying the way it's moving, and I'm enjoying holding it, and I do have targets, like I say. So there's just a very brief catch-up video. I appreciate it's not that informative. It's nothing that you couldn't have probably seen yourself. But the channel's suffering. But I've got to prioritise my things in my life, which is kids at the moment. So I've got 2 little kids. One's a baby, and because of that, I just have very little time to do anything else. But if you fancy joining my Telegram, feel free to do that. Go to my Twitter account. You'll find a pinned tweet with a link to my Telegram chat. Go ahead, join the Telegram chat. I'm obviously a little bit more able to offer my opinions on things on Telegram than I am able to make videos on YouTube. And there's a lot of other people on there, some quite significantly successful traders on there, as well as fundamental analysts that like to give their opinion on the market. And most of us are on the same wavelength, so we all chip in from different angles towards the same goal, which is I find really helpful. So feel free to join us on that one, and I hope you have a nice day or evening, or at least I hope you had a nice weekend. Take it easy.